It's good to see everybody in such a beautiful venue here. I want to start by saying in the beginning, yesterday, some of the boards heard this story, but I want to repeat it for you. Yesterday, they read across America, I read to schools, I read at Span School a lot and read out in Madison some and different schools, and I was reading at the school and we read the little book and everything, Dr. Seuss, and the kids are bright, second grade. I mean, they hadn't wrecked the car yet. I mean, these are good. These kids are smart, they're wise, they're fun. So he brings me a letter, and it's in pencil. And you know how young children write kind of slanted here, slanted one way or the other. And so it said, Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann. It said, Dear Lieutenant Governor, I want you to send me $1 million so me and my class can go to the moon. That's where the kids are dreaming. They're going to the moon. The best part of the story was he signed it, Reed, whatever, and he put a P.S. Please send the check to 138 Hawthorne Drive, Madison, Mississippi. So not only is he going to the moon, he knows where to send the check, and I expect he's expecting me to get it. After the last couple of days, that's the most reasonable request I've had. I want to talk to you a little bit about where we're going. We've had a very good couple of days here in the Senate side, and we're looking at the things that are going to drive you, which are, we've proposed $300 million additional funds for the EBRF, which is the County Roads and Bridges. If we don't have transportation, every one of you that's in a business here knows that without transportation, you can't get your products to market, your kids to school, and anything else. And the Senate has been very upfront. Last year, we had a very large county road building program. We have another one this year. Rick's just mentioned to the broadband. We just adopted a broadband bill and sent it back over to the House. And in our broadband bill, we expect somewhere between $200 million and $1 billion coming into broadband. What was critical to us on the Senate side was that that money go to the unserved areas, that it go out and reach out. Now, without those of you who may not live in downtown Jackson or wherever that don't have access to that internet, we all rise together. Our farmers, our small businesses in our small towns across Mississippi, without that kind of revenue, without that access to the internet, they're not going to proliferate. We're not going to grow as a state. So we thought that was critical to us. Another one that you may not have heard about today, but I want to talk to you about for a second. We started looking at our state parks. They're abysmal. There were a lot of excuses given, or reasons, more like excuses, but in the reality, we have a diminishing and falling apart state park system. Now, what happened to us during COVID, people came in these RVs now are very expensive and they're big and they take different wattages and whatnot, and they have their campers behind. They go through Mississippi to get somewhere else because our state parks were not sufficient. So a year ago, last time, we asked the state wildlife, fisheries, and parks to give us a study. We really never got good numbers. And so in the last 2 weeks, I've asked architects to go out. I want to thank Lynn Presley from Wildlife, who's the executive director now, and Liz Welch helped us. We had architects go out to all the state parks in Mississippi. How much do we need? And it's about $150 million. Now that's to put it back where it would be someplace that you would take your children, that families would go where you can take your daughter fishing or your son hunting or whatever you're going to do. Those places are so special to us. We can never replicate those. And we have them, and we're letting them literally fall to the ground. We need to do that while, as Brick said, we've got some excess money this year. We've got things we can do with some of that money. One of those things is to put a place up so that you can take your family, and everybody can take their families on weekends for a reasonable cost to a place you'd be happy with. In addition to all the tourist money that comes out of this. People use these forever. So we have that coming, and I'm very interested in making sure that we have, before we get out of here this year, some commitment to having those parks back to something you'll be proud of. A number of other issues. As you know, we've got tax issues, and we've got some different opinions on the tax. The Senate bill actually does a couple of unique things. We actually send people checks back. Now, I've been paying taxes for 50 years. I know most of y'all all pay taxes, and nobody ever sent me any money back. So we want to send $130 million back. I think that's important because in times in which you have these mercurial raises where money falls out of the sky from Washington, somebody's printing it up there, when we've got that, we want to be able to send some money back to people, put it in your pocket. That sets up a precedent, y'all, that we can do this again. We don't have to do it this one year. We got money next year, we need to do it again. The second thing is to spend, as we go through that thing, to go through the spending of those funds, the second thing is to make sure we spend them wisely. Now, as Briggs was alluding to, and he does a great job, by the way, very proud of my appropriations chairman. As we come to the decision to spend them wisely, we thought we would cut the taxes like 4%. We start by cutting the taxes 4%. The other thing we want to do was make sure that when moms and dads are out shopping, they're getting hit. Inflation is not transitory, like the president says it is. It's real and it's accelerating. So we wanted to give 2% off of your groceries. So when people go, all of us, go to the grocery store, my wife came home the other day and was saying, "You're not going to believe what it costs for X." You know, not gonna believe. That's happening all over Mississippi, and where our working people, they're getting squeezed by that in gas prices. So to help that, we wanted to address your grocery tax. Those are all very good plans, well thought out. It didn't come from some national organization somewhere that doesn't live here. It came from Mississippians going to the grocery store, the post office box, and when they're paying their taxes every year. That's where this plan came from. There's another plan. There's another plan from the House plan. Y'all have heard all of that. I don't need to explain theirs. It's different from ours. We need to go forward. We need to have a plan. We think ours is good. We're welcome the opportunity to discuss it with anyone. Met with some of them yesterday. Our finance chairman, Josh Hawkins, is doing a great job, and he's coming up and looking at different things that we can do as we go forward. I think that's really important. But I want to get back to where Briggs was. Each of you may have had in your lifetime where you were working at $50,000 or $75,000 a year and you got a bonus. The company had a good year, the bank had a good year, y'all's contractors did well, you got a bonus. Mississippi just got a giant bonus, $1 billion. And so what do you do the next year? Let's say you make $75,000, you got $100,000, you got a $50,000 bonus, all of a sudden you got $125,000. Now, when you went the next year, did you budget for $125,000? Thinking you were going to get that bonus every year? If you did, you probably had to move to an apartment because you lost the house. That's where we are. We have unprecedented money in our account. We need to give some back. The rest of it needs to go for Reed. We need to have where he can go to the moon. We need to have him educated. What was the thing that MEC said? The very first thing in their brochure, we need a qualified workforce. Now, if we don't have a qualified workforce, it's going to be a smaller MEC every year. The way to do that is invest in education, and we raised teacher salaries $200 million. Since I've been there, we have raised teacher salaries $250 million. That is an investment. There are other investments we need to be made in education. The best economic tool we have in our state is an educated worker, because those people will work for you, with you, and they will employ you. That's where we need to go. And if we lose sight of where we're going without having the ability to educate our children, build our roads, give money back to our taxpayers, run our business just like you run your business at home, we will lose the best opportunity this state has ever had to go ahead. The best thing we've got going for our state is our people. And every one of you are leaders, you wouldn't be in here. And if we take stock of ourselves and if we resist frittering this money away, that's a Warren County term, if we resist frittering this money away and we invest it not for this year, not for next year when there's an election, but for the next generation, you'll be proud of yourselves. And if we don't, you and your grandchildren will be sorry you didn't. So as we go through this next 3 weeks, deadlines are coming. Call your member of the House. Call your member of the Senate. Call the Lieutenant Governor. I can tell you, some of my senators will come running in the office and they'll say, "Mom, I'm getting blown up by all these calls, and they told me I had to do this, had to do that." I said, "Well, how many people call?" He said, 2. I said, "I don't know you're getting blown up by 2 people." So let's think about this. You can make a difference. There's never been a time in Mississippi's history where you could make such a difference as you can right now. We need your intellect and your input at every level. So thank y'all. We're going to have, this money is going to come out for the next 2 or 3 years. We're fixing to have the best 3 or 4 years, probably 3 years anyway, that Mississippi's ever had economically. We're looking forward to supporting you in every possible way we can, and I look forward to working with you, and thanks so much for having me today.